So I'm going to start with the basics with adding and subtracting fractions for you, because if you start with the basics and you work your way up, it's probably easier to understand. I know you understand that if you are adding fractions, you have to have that common denominator. So basically you add the numerators, so 3 plus 2 is 5, and then you carry over the denominator, so it would be 5/7. Same with subtraction, you have to have a common denominator. Subtract the numerators, so 4 minus 3 is 1 over 5. Now there's two ways people will look at this, right? If I'm adding fractions with different denominators, first thing I do is I look for my common denominator. And sometimes people will just multiply these together. 3 times 4 is 12, and then 12. Now, what did I have to multiply 3 by to get 12? 4. Multiply numerator by 4. 2 times 4 gives me 8. What did I have to multiply 4 by to get 12? 3. Multiply by 3. That gives you 9. Now that my denominators are the same, I can add the numerators. 8 plus 9 is 17 over 12. Now this is what we call the improper fraction, right? So to get the mixed number, I'm going to put the numerator inside the box. Oop. So 17 goes inside the box. 12 goes on the outside. 12 goes into 17 one time. 1 times 12 is 12. And when I subtract, I get 5. 12 does not go into 5, so it's 1 remainder 5. So I have one whole number, and then 5, my remainder, over my denominator of 12. So this here is your mixed number, and this here is your improper fraction. Now when you go to add or subtract, mixed numbers, you can do it actually two ways. And I'll show you both ways on one problem, and one way on one problem, and then another way on the next. So this problem, what you could basically do is convert this to improper fractions. So 3 times 4 is 12. So multiply these and then add the numerator. So 13 over 3 plus 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3. Now I can go ahead and add 13 plus 7 is 20 over 3. Now again, that's the improper fraction. Now I put 20 inside the box, 3 out here. 3 goes into 20. 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract, I get 2. So it's 6 remainder 2. So that would give me 6 whole, and then 2 out of 3. And that would be your mixed number. The other way to do it is to go ahead and add your whole numbers. 5 plus 2 is 7, and now I'm going to add my fractions. 3/5 plus 4/5 is going to give you 7/5. Now you do have a mixed number here, but remember right now you have, this is basically written as 7 plus 7/5. So I look, this is not a proper fraction, it's an improper fraction. So I'm going to put 7 in the box, 5 on the outside. 5 goes into 7 one time. That gives me 2, so it's 1 remainder 2. So this becomes 7 plus 1 and 2/5. Well, now I could just go ahead and combine these, and that would give me 8. 7 plus 1 is 8 and 2/5. Either way you do it, I don't think there's a difficulty level more difficult one way or another. Now when I subtract, I actually feel it's better to convert these to improper fractions if I subtract. So 7 times 6 is 42, plus 4 gives me 46 over 7, minus 7 times 5 is 35, plus 3 is 38 over 7. Now 46 minus 38 is 8 over 7. So 8 goes in a box, 7 on the outside. 7 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 7 is 7. 1. So this becomes 1 and 1 out of 7. Okay. So the next one, right away, again, like if I go to add, I can change them to improper fractions, or I can go 8 plus 2 is 10. 3/8 plus 7/8 is 10/8. So now if I convert that, 8 goes into 10 one time, gives you 8, subtract, remainder 2. So 10 plus 1 and 2 over 8 gives you 11 and 2 over 8. But remember, 2 over 8 can both be divided by 2 and reduce to 1/4. So 11 and 1/4. Okay. Now, multiplying. Multiplying is actually easier. What I'm going to do is multiply across the top to get 6 over 15. Now, 6 and 15 can both be divided by 3. So what I'll do is I'll divide both of these by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2 over 5. Done. Now when you multiply fractions, the first fraction stays. The operation switches from division to multiplication. Then I'm going to flip my divisor. So 3 over 4 becomes 4 over 3. Now when I go ahead and multiply across the top, I get 28. Multiply across the bottom, I get 48. Then I look, both of these can be divided by, say 4. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 48 divided by 4 is 12. And that's what your final answer would be. Okay, now when we're dealing with mixed numbers, you have no option but to change these to improper fractions. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11 over 3, times 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21 over 5. Now, I'm going to show you the long way first, is to multiply the numerators. Now I'm going to go 11 times 21. That gives you 231 over 3 times 5 is 15. Now, I look, you have to reduce this, which isn't easy, but I divide both by 3, and it would give me 77 over 5. Now, that could be a mixed number as 77 in the box, 5 out here. 5 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. I bring down the 2, bring down the 7. 5 goes into 27 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Subtract, I get 2. So it's 15 remainder 2. So this would be 15 and 2/5. Now, another way, once I get here, another thing I could do is, if any of these numerators can be divided by the denominator or reduced, I will. So I'm going to do 3 divided by 3, 21 divided by 3. Now that becomes 11 over 1 times 21 divided by 3 is 7 over 5. Now I got smaller numbers to work with. 77 over 5. And now I could do what I did here. When I divide, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14 over 5. Now, right away, I'm going to switch division to multiplication. Now, this would be 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 2, but I have to flip it and multiply by 2 over 7. When I multiply across the top, it gives me 28 over 35. Both of these can be divided by 7. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 35 divided by 7 is 5. And that's what you would get. If I wanted to do that canceling early, I'll notice 7 can be divided by 7 to give you 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 1 is 5. Either way. I hope this helps. And email me if you have any further questions, and I'll try and get to it over the weekend.